It is New Year's Day and it is freaking cold outside, so rather than play around outside, we're going to play around inside. William got a bunch of these Pokemon figures for Christmas, and rather than put it in just a regular container, I thought I'd try and make him a little box here to keep those things in. I've got a piece of barnboard here, whoop, just one piece, 10 inches wide by about 30 inches long. That should be enough wood for me to make the entire box out of. So what I'm going to do is try and make a notch in the bottom for the bottom to slide in, and then glue that up. And then the top's going to have a sliding lid to access the stuff when he wants. So I've never done this before, but I'm going to give it a whirl and see how it turns out. So here's the board that I started with. I ripped it down the middle to about 5 inches using the table saw. So got me two pieces here that are about 5 inches. I got a joiner over here that is a 5-inch capacity. So I was able to join both of these boards so that they're relatively flat on the bottom here to a point where I'm happy with them. May not be perfect, but good enough for what I'm going to do. Now that these are halfway flat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my planer, and then I'm going to get these down to the appropriate thickness. For the sides of the box, that's going to be 1/2 inch. Got a little lazy there on the videotaping and just kind of kept working. So here's the box. I have had it glued overnight. I put a groove in the bottom there for the bottom panel to slide in, and now I got a groove cut in here for the lid to slide in. I wanted to spline the joints, so I had to make this splining jig for my table saw. And what you do is you take your box, have it spaced out properly, then set your blade the right height on the table saw, and then you run this whole jig with your box across the saw, and it makes these little cuts. So now you can see I got these cuts here and here, two on each corner. And then on the table saw, I ripped some very thin pieces of walnut that I will be taking and putting into each of these joints. Make sure that they fit snugly, and then take them back out and glue them and put them in for good. I'll take a picture of that in just a bit. So here's the box with all of those splines glued in. I just put a little bit of glue on those things top and bottom, and then put them in their slots. And I used my wooden mallet here just to tap it in. Make sure they're nice and snug. You want to be careful you don't hit it too hard, or else you could break some stuff. But yeah, just so I got those in nice and snug. And the whole idea is that this is going to give it a really cool look. Kind of gives you an idea there. Once I cut the excess wood off, it's going to give you a really cool look of a nice walnut stripe in the middle here. So we'll check that out and see how it works. This is the lid for the box right here. And I've used a Forstner bit just to put a little indent here. And then used a hole saw to cut a circular, like a circle, and I put a dowel and I glued that last night. This is going to have a pull on it like this. It's for my son's Pokemon stuff, like I said earlier, so we're trying to make that look like a Pokeball when we're all said and done. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and we'll have to pick this up once this glue dries, and we can move on to the next step. The joints that we've put in here have dried. Now what I'm going to do, just grab a saw and cut them flush-ish. I'm going to sand them nice and tight, but might as well just use a saw to get a little bit of that stuff, material removed before I go to the sander. So that's the state that we're at right now. Just got to trim this stuff and then go hard on the sanding. Okay, so now I'm going to take this over to the router table here, and I'm going to round over these corners here so that they're a little bit softer. I did the bottom already. You can see what that looks like before I do my sanding. So I'm going to do those on these jointed corners as well, just to kind of soften that up a little bit. And yeah, we're near the end here. And here we are, all done. So I took the knob on the face there and I did a little burning on it to try and make it look like a Pokeball. Slide works good. The corners rounded out really nice. Happy with how that worked out. The walnut looks kind of cool there. And this old wood has some pretty cool looking color patterns in it. Not sure if my son will care at all, but anyway, I think it's kind of neat. And to coat that, all I did was I put one coat of Danish oil on. Yeah, it really made the colors pop. So I'm pleased with how it turned out. We'll see how he likes it. Open it.
Pokemon.
You like the box? So that's the video for making that sliding lid box for the Pokemon for my son. Just out of a piece of Barnwood. Hopefully that was helpful. Give you some ideas how you can approach. There's a little man in the back. How you can approach some different stuff with Barnwood. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.